more northerly direction. I'm pointing west, but I can still hear you okay. I'm getting around 5 dB overnight.
Hi everyone, welcome to the shack. I'm sad to say that I've got to take the IC-705 back to my friend, fellow member of Harwell ARS Radio Society, because he's got someone coming to see him tomorrow who might be interested in buying it. And I suppose what I'm saying is he might be more interested in buying it than I am, because I'm certainly interested in buying it, but not because I want to go out portable. But obviously this radio represents a portable receiver with spectrum scope and waterfall and lots of other features. Wide band, I think it tunes continuously from 30 kilohertz through 144 megahertz, so you know, through 2 meters. It also covers 70 sems. You know, it's brilliant transceiver and potentially a brilliant portable receiver for, well, HF and more really. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and go through all the features. You guys can look that up on the internet with no problem at all. But one thing I did notice straight away is that it's actually quite a bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. I just assumed it was going to be basically the same size as my old 7300 front end, but obviously only sort of 2 or 3 sort of inches sort of deep with the battery, but it feels a bit smaller than that. Well, it is a bit smaller than that. You know, there's my Apple Watch, so for sort of scale. So I've only actually spent a day or two actually using it, and it's brilliant. The ergonomics are very similar, obviously, to the 7300. If I hit the menu button, I'm not going to go through them all, but it's basically identical. It's not completely identical because this rig, as I said, it doesn't just do FM, AM, and sideband, etc. It does D star, DB, and tunes through 2 meters and 70 sems. It's pretty sensitive. So I did a comparison yesterday afternoon, just very briefly, with my ELAD FDM Duo on long wave. I've got the Welbrook loop plugged into at the moment, and I switched on the ELAD and tuned to 198 kilohertz, and the Radio 4 signal was there, but it was very, very weak, hardly any modulation, almost no audio. Switched on this rig and got, well, essentially still got the same signal basically and the same level of modulation, so it's at least as sensitive as the FDM Duo, and that's no mean feat because that's a very, very sensitive receiver. Obviously it's fully portable. This has got one of these stands bolted to it, so you can operate it from a sort of bench or a table and actually have it facing you, which I'm guessing adds a bit of weight. You can see it's got a pretty sort of chunky battery in the back of it. I'm not sure how long the battery would last on receive only, but given that it's designed to operate as a transceiver for however long, I imagine as a receiver that is going to last. That battery is going to last a long time. I can't remember what the actual capacity of the battery is, but it's lithium ion, and you can also power this rig, of course, from a mains DC. From an external power supply, so you can just attach it to one of your ham rig power supplies. It's brilliant. The screen is excellent. It's 4.3 inch color TFT touchscreen, so it works really well. So and again, it's exactly the same as 7300 really. You know, direct frequency input, go by start with band, etc. Audio I can only describe as very thin. And one thing and it feels like the AF starts to distort if you try and use this rig at anything approaching a sort of fairly comfortable audio level. Obviously, I guess as a ham rig, you might say, well, it's designed primarily to be used with headphones, which I get completely, but yeah. But I think overall, if you were really serious about DXing, whether it's long wave, medium wave, short wave, HF, whatever, but you're really serious about DXing with a portable receiver that has a spectrum scope, then this rig is going to certainly fulfill those requirements. Yeah, I've just found it to be excellent, and it's just a really expensive way of buying a portable radio with a spectrum scope. The price I've been offered is very fair, actually, but again, we're talking about approaching sort of 900 quid, and that's fair. That's the going rate. That's what these things go for secondhand. But I think, in terms of the increase in sort of functionality over other portables I've got versus cost, it's probably, for me, it's just a little bit too much. If I was serious about going portable, that's a completely different story. This would be the rig I would buy. Yeah, it's just a little bit too rich for me, really, to use as a receive-only rig. But that isn't to say that I don't like it or it's no good. It's actually really excellent. And, of course, easy to use because, used to... well, I don't use it anymore, of course, because I part exchanged my 7300 when I bought the Kenwood TS990. But... yeah, it's just very, very easy to use, particularly if you've used a 7300 previously. I mean, it really is excellent. So there you go. I'm not going to go through all the features because you guys know what they are, but I just wanted to make that point that if you're serious about looking for a rig that you're going to use as a receiver as well, and you want the spectrum scope, there's no doubt that that's advantageous. If you're out somewhere in the middle of the night with a long piece of wire or a mag loop or an E-field antenna, whatever it is, to have that spectrum scope to be observing signals is a big advantage. So yeah, it's a shame really that I can't convince myself, but yeah, it's just a little bit too much for me. But other than that, all I would say is highly recommended if you've got the stomach for the price. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, or at least I hope it was useful. All the best, and 73.